All right, what's going on, everybody out there in the internet? This is the Echelons 27. I am joined by Knuckly Kong here in the commentary booth. What is going on, Knuckly? How are we doing today?
I'm doing pretty good today. Excited to see another great Doom's Rage flag set race.
Yeah, this should be a really exciting one. We've got the Legend group, which is Group D for the Warring Triads. And before we start with setting the matchup for you, thank you so much, Jeremy Visser 140 or 410 rather. My Liz Dexy is kicking in this morning. Thank you so much for doing a Prime subscription. All subs and donations to the Worlds Collide Twitch chat do go towards upcoming marathons that some of our runners will be featured in, so thank you so much for your support. So let's talk about the Legend group here, Group D. Let's pull up the standings here. This is as of fresh and new, hot off the presses. So we do have Team Raiden, who is represented by TheRealChadius today. So far, they are 2-0 through the first 2 weeks with 4 individual W's, and Team Phoenix is 1-1 with 2 individual W's. And since this is the beginning of the week, Knuckly, each of these runners, JS is representing Team Phoenix, will try and set the tone for their matchup this week.
Absolutely, and I believe this is the first official race of week 3.
That is also correct. So this is about setting the tone, and we've got lots of great things coming for you for the rest of this week. The Onslaught group is looking pretty like some parity there. 3 individual wins per team and 1-1 all up in the standings there. My team, Team Illumina, finally got on the board this week with 2 individual wins. And we still have the Nemesis group with Team Doomgaze and Team Guardian, who are the 2 most dominant teams of all of the Warring Triads there, both with 2 wins and the greatest total disparity in time. So they are actually going head-to-head this week. So lots of great things happening all around the standings here, Knuckly.
Absolutely. I myself am part of Team Inferno, and I think it was Ensign Wesley that got us on the board with an individual win this past week. Hopefully we can carry on his momentum into this week and start securing some victories for our team.
It's still very early. There's still plenty of time. There are 6 weeks in total in the group stage before we get to the bracket stage here. So there's still lots of time for our teams to get on with it. So what are we going to be seeing today? Well, we are going to be doing Doom's Rage as the particular flag set here. So that is what we will be seeing for our Warring Triads. And for those of us who may not remember what Doom's flag set are, why don't you take us through it a little bit here, Knuckly?
So Doom's Rage, we start with 2 characters. Final Kefka unlock is 6 characters, 9 espers. The skip conditions are randomized per seed. This seed, the skip, is 7 characters, 13 espers, and 24 checks. So 7 characters is probably what we're going to see if someone gets a skip, because it's only 1 more than what's needed. Excluded abilities in this flag set is X Magic and Magitech. You also earn less magic points per fight. And seems like Doom's Rage is more focused on physical attack power. If you look at the item rewards, you get a lot of high-powered weapons. Illumina, Ragnarok, Aura Lance, Fixed Dice, Atma Weapon, Valiant Knife. Illumina and Ragnarok are great to get early in the seed, as well as Fixed Dice. Fixed Dice, you got a chance of doing a lot of damage early on, so you can take on some high-powered enemies. Whereas Valiant Knife and Atma Weapon usually don't come online until later in the seed when you get a few levels under you. There are some spells removed from this particular flag set. Fire 1, 2, and 3, Bolt 1, 2, and 3, Merton, and Ultima. So the only elemental spells you have access to is Ice 1, 2, and 3, unless you find breakables, Fire Rod, Thunder Rod, Flame Shield, and Thunder Shield. While they won't teach you the spells, they will still be able to be used to cast those spells.
Yeah, and there's also the possibility of getting a character with throw as well, right? So throw, you could throw some fire skeins or some bolt edges at your enemies, but no fire and bolt magic this seed. And we also get a -10 magic power and +20 strength to start on our characters too. So definitely is going to skew way more towards physical offensive builds in this particular seed. So we'll see exactly who our runners start with. They only start with 2 characters, and we need to find 6. I'm pretty sure, though, with the 7-character skip, we'll probably end up getting the skip here.
Yep, because the odds of finding a 7th character before you find your 9th Esper are pretty high.
Yeah, so also, since this is character gated, right, you're going to have to find probably, maybe you might have to get to 7 characters in order to get 9 Espers anyway, just with the way that some of the seeds have been going thus far. We'll see if it is kind to our runners and not. And we are off and going, starting off with Terra at least. We do see that boss levels get +3 and dragon levels get +6. We start with a little Terra and lock action. So this is actually a halfway decent start. Unfortunately, the command's not great. Capture on Terra, morph on lock. So we can actually go check that curse shield count right away. It'll be anywhere between 6 and 13, and that curse shield, uncursing it, will be real nice to pass around in Kefka's tower here, as we see JS heading in a different direction, going to get all that nice, juicy loot here at an Imperial base.
And this is somewhat of a vanilla start, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean...
The first 2 characters are Terra and Locke.
Well, don't throw shade at Vix and Wedge like that. So Chadius does pick up his first Esper in the weapon shop there. Choice is pretty easy between an Esper and I think that was an Ice Shield, so not even a weapon we could really use. I didn't see what was down in the basement there of the Imperial camp, but that's an 8 battle curse shield, so I think that one is definitely doable on the lower end of things. Even if we don't find ourselves a ribbon or a peace ring, I would still be looking to uncurse that shield early on here in the game.
Yeah. And while it won't teach Ultima in the end, it is still a wonderful shield to have.
Alright, so chat weighing in. Best thing in the basement was a Force Armor, so thank you very much, chat. The real MVPs here as, wow, that Nar Shed is so much better than the basement. Thunder Shield, an Experience Egg, ridiculous in there, and a Mega Elixir as well. So, Narsh is the place to be already, folks. That is a pretty stacked shed.
Yes, I do like the variation that we're seeing in the start here. Numbers went straight to Cave to the Sealed Gate.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's nice to see when runners have variation. A lot of times in the seeds, we see the same looting process between both runners at the start. Looks like JS is only going to do a little bit of looting. Fixed dice early.
And there it is. So that is Terra solved for right away. We got fixed dice on her. And Wing Edge is actually a pretty good weapon to start off as well, because you can back row the Wing Edge, and it has a chance to proc instant death. So that's a nice one to find right away too. So we'll see if JS decides to pull on the lever here at the Cave to the Sealed Gate, and it looks like he is. In my race that I had, this was a double Gigantos fight, which is ridiculous for my levels. I was level 19 after one fight, actually.
That is very impressive.
However, this is not as good of a fight, but I think with decent dice rolls we could get through it, because remember, these enemies, oh, nice proc there. These enemies are actually only level 3, because we've done 0 checks thus far in the game. Meanwhile, Chad does find a really nice piece of armor there in the pot, a Minerva, so that's something that Terra can definitely wear by default, and our equipable item by character here is increased to 50% over the vanilla 33, and there you go. Just as I will it into existence, the Wing Edge taking care of those really high powered endgame enemies there, the Fortis, with just 2 instant death procs, so really nice.
And that's what's nice about finding those endgame enemies at the start, is the scaling. They are still more powerful, but you're not running into them at level 40.
Alright, so now JS is going to show us what's at the end of the cave to the sealed gate here, as Chadius looks like they're going to stay in the World of Ruin. You can actually loot the outdoor chests in South Figaro, in both the World of Ruin and the World of Balance, and it looks like he's going to do a little okie doke here and actually hit up the basement as well. A couple of Genji shields that both of our runners have found, and it is a merchant sprite at the end of the cave to the sealed gate, so this is not a character. It's either an Esper or an item, and we'll see exactly which one it is. Oh, it is one of the lower of the of the weapons that you could receive. However, the Magus Rod does somewhat offset that -10 magic power that we get at the start, because it gives +7 magic power to anybody who has it. But if I was looking for a weapon, especially with Lock and Terra, I'd be looking for a sharp stick here.
Sharp sticks and this flag set are the way to go, as TheRealChadius finds an Excalibur.
And here's another XP lucrative fight, Chimera, as JS says, "Fight me, bro," to one of the soldiers there in the Imperial base. Oh, Locke unfortunately taking a nap there. Won't get this XP from that fight, but hopefully he'll dust himself off and back again. To answer a question in the chat, the pallets are actually based on the flags in the Warring Triads event. So you see the blue and black pallets, and no, our runners are not bruised. That is just the palette for the Doom flags, because Doom is based on, you know, ice spells, and he kind of looks like that, right? Let's pull up a little picture. You can see at the top, he's looking a little blue in the skin, and he's got the black wings on him as well. So we tried to match the palette with the boss here.
Out of all three, what is your favorite palette?
Oh, this one is my favorite palette, easily. I normally like blue and gray colors. I actually have them in my in my office, or my man cave, if you will. So, okay, this may be bad. Ooh, okay, we do survive the first onslaught, but running into the Doomgaze spot, this can get real interesting. The capture comes and steals an X potion, so you can actually potentially steal a Genji glove from Dullahan as the reward if you don't get the X potion. I think the Genji glove is the common steal, and the X potion is the rare steal, so a little bit unlucky there for Chadius.
Now, as Chadius gone through and re-equipped his party, I don't believe he's found the fixed dice yet.
No, the fixed dice is only in the cave to the sealed gate, which is where JS was, so unfortunately does not have access to it. Let's see, Zen Thief is 40k in the World of Ruin there. Can be a different price in the World of Balance, so we'll see if he decides to go there as well. Lots of good design choices here in the chat, and that's one of the things I like about Worlds Collide, is you can customize it with, you know, having different palettes. You can even do different sprites, although sometimes it can get quite confusing if you don't know which sprites are which. Looks like JS is taking that fixed dice over to the Colosseum. We'll see if there's anything nice in here that he can win. I do like, I think if I was to rank all three, I think Poltergeist's palette is probably second for me and Goddess is third, but I do really like how Sabin and Edgar look in Goddess's palette with the orange. The orange is just really cool.
Yeah, and that's my favorite, is Edgar in the Goddess flag set.
Okay. But overall, is Goddess your favorite palette here?
No. Nope. It's a hard toss for me between Doom and Poltergeist, but I think Doom takes it.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we did win. I didn't even see what the reward was there, but there was a Super Ball for a drill in the shop, or as a chance to win in the Coliseum. I might have gone for that, even though the drill is really nice for a tools user. We don't have a tools user yet, so that Super Ball would definitely be way more effective early game than a drill.
Very true. And now we see JS going back to Narsh, or to Narsh for the first time.
Get out of the way, Sword Tech guy. Oh my god, you're so annoying. Yeah, so runners swapping places, you know, as you mentioned earlier before. It was the Thunderblade. Thank you, chat. So Thunderblade is not too bad in this flag set. It will give +2 magic power to whoever equips it. So it kind of offsets that -10 just a little bit. You could probably offset that -10 with enough pieces of armor and equipment. But generally speaking, most of the time, as JS is going to find out the hard way that is not going to work. Most of the time, we are looking for high offense builds, and there is a fixed dice from Chad, wishing that he had it when he ran into Dullahan there. Yeah, so in this flag set, you don't actually get a reward for winning a Coliseum match. That is only in the Poltergeist flag set, as JS is going to pick up his Esper there. So the good thing about having Terra in this party, Knuckly, is that we can actually go and get that Ice Shield if we really want to behind the Welk spot. And Chadius is also going to do the pull down. We'll see how he gets on with this. And remember, he has the experience egg now when doing this fight. So his fights are going to go ahead and give way more out. And he'll also start on that Curse Shield. I think he found a sniper somewhere too, it looks like, for Locke. So that's a pretty good 1-2 punch with his crew here.
And that was a very interesting way that he equipped that Curse Shield. He didn't go into the battle with it equipped. Mm-hmm. But when he equipped it in the battle, it didn't look like it caused any of the status effects.
Yeah, so if you equip the Curse Shield mid-battle, you do get all the bad stat things, and you get twice as much damage, you know, with magic attacks, but you don't get all the status elements that you would if you equip the Curse Shield at the beginning of the battle. So sometimes you could actually cheese that Curse Shield battles if you, say, go into the menu and equip the shield as the boss is dying, right? Because the bosses have that long death animation. It actually counts as you winning the battle with the Curse Shield on, even if you don't have it on for the entire duration of the fight. It just matters if you have it on at the end. I also like Gogo's outfits in most of these palettes too. Gogo is a real good one for the sprites. Shadow is too, actually, even though he's kind of like one color. He's got like that
ketchup and mustard.
Yeah. That one like singular color. So.
But I do like Gogo's palette in all of the flag sets. It's very interesting.
Yeah, Gar is we better put Gar on some high alert there. Gogo, you better get a restraining order against him. Alright, so JS is in the returner's hideout buying tonics that he will never need. 51 is a lot of tonics. So we'll see if he decides to go to the Leite River here, because that is one of Terra's checks. And I think this is what's going to happen. I like this play early. It allows him to get a lot of levels underneath him. Strength +1 on that Esper as well is going to be really helpful.
Yeah, the Leite River early game isn't bad. It does have fixed encounters, which gives you some grind fights. Mm-hmm. It is one of the longer checks, but I think early game it'll pay off with the grind fights.
Yeah, it is much better ever since the update for either 1.3 or 1.4. I don't remember which one, where we normalized the encounters on the Leite River to get 3 before the first save point and 1 afterwards. So that's 4 max. But this fight, however, is not fun.
Is at level 9 and level 8, so that level 5 Doom isn't anything to worry about.
Yeah, the level 4 flare that it might throw out does worry me, though. As you mentioned, Locke is on level 8. Let's see if he can get some of these sweet wing edge procs. And here's part of the problem with this fight is they do a lot of AoE attacks, and thankfully we've got a Thunder Shield, and we could say goodbye to Locke here. Pearl Rods in Albrook, so that's something that Chadius might want to think about picking up as well. Here it is. Sell the Magus Rod, get a Pearl Rod. I think I take that trade every day of the week.
Oh, yeah. It looks like really bad luck for numbers over here. Locke was succumbed to that level 4 flare, and now Terra is stopped.
Yeah, Skybase can also cast Blaster, which is that instant death thing that Spicy Chicken loves to do. So I would reset because Stop just takes an inordinate amount of time to wear off here.
It does, but it looks like Skybase is out of MP.
Oh, that's nice. So Blaster's not going to be a problem anymore. And hopefully...
That's another thing that's nice about the lower level encounters, is they run out of MP really fast.
Yeah, so each one of our runners has done 2 checks thus far, so their enemies will be at level 5 for the forced encounters. Bosses and dragons will be a little bit more tough, but the encounters are at least still at a reasonable level. Ew, here's another yucky fight.
That's a good one to warp out of.
Those soul dancers will throw things at you, and if you're not ready for them, then they're going to hurt. All right,
and those crushers have high physical defense, don't they?
They do, but the fun thing is that fixed dice ignores defense, and those have a chance to drop super balls. So if he makes it through this fight, there's a chance to do it. No, here comes the throwing of stuff. Thankfully, these enemies are so low leveled, and Terra actually was healed that didn't matter. But we're thankfully going to get to a checkpoint here where JS can think about bringing Locke back up.
Now, is Chadius checking the shops at the Imperial or Magitech factory?
That's what it looks like. This is also a good place to get a heal and a battle. So after you finish with this battle, you can talk back to the matronly lady. Wow, I can't say that. Should have done my broadcast warm-ups before I came on air. Yeah, it looks like we're checking some of the shops for stuff. Interesting play, because there's only a weapon shop and an armor shop here. And he's not even bothering to look at the armor shop. Alright, so JS decides that now is the time to try and start killing these soul dancers. They will throw stuff at you, but it looks like he's found that he can tank the throws for maybe a couple turns, but he's starting to get low HP here. 27,000 for Tzenthieth, and it is an Esper in the world of balance, so that is definitely the cheaper place to go grab that. These dice rolls are pathetic, but thankfully our enemies don't really have that high of levels, and that's a nice one to get through there for JS. Setting himself up for the boss. So who are we going to find as our first boss fight in the Leite River here? Chat, do you have any predictions?
Master.
Don't you dare do that. That's just not nice. Yeah, use some of those 51 tonics you bought. I mean, I usually like to buy 10 of them if I could find them, because 10 tonics is like $500 usually. Right? And it's good to heal in between grind fights. 50 is excessive.
I agree with you there.
Level 5 Magimaster. If we had, if JS got that Super Ball out of the out of the Coliseum, I would be more inclined to do it then. We do have fixed dice, so that can cut through Magimaster's defenses. So we at least have some tools to go it. But rather appropriately, we're getting Risopus and the Piranhas.
It's just...
Which I think is what Turdsman guessed. Wow, good guess, Turdsman. Oh my goodness.
This can be a long fight.
Turdsman downloaded the seed. He cheated. Oh! Did you see what I saw? Valiant Knife for running shoes. Let's go. Oh no. Thankfully fixed dice... Oh, well. I was going to say, thankfully fixed dice doesn't care if you're an imp or not, but this might be a problem.
Excalibur does.
Oh no. Yeah, so this fight's going to take a while for Chad here. Oh, change me back. Yes, thank you. Oh man, that was incredible. You don't see that every day.
No, I don't think you could have asked for that to work out any better.
Alright, so, Chadius with a Valiant Knife from the Coliseum. That is what Locke will probably do towards the end game, as you mentioned. Terra does have the ability to use it at fixed dice, and JS uses it to crush Risopus there, so we'll see what the reward here is at the end of the Leite River. Okay, I'm not mad at a Ragnarok.
Nope, and that's... I like the dead checks in the Doom flag set because you get the... You have the possibility of getting the high tier weapons.
Yeah. Oh, he was not wearing the experience egg for the entire time of the Leite River. Oh man, that's... You hate to see that happen. Yeah, in JS's position, not knowing about the Valiant Knife in the Coliseum, getting something for Locke to do with the Ragnarok is not terrible. Would I have liked it to have been progression? Maybe, but I'm still okay with the Ragnarok. Yeah, the Narsh shed was a stacked shed, Mega Elixir, Thunder Shield, and Experience Egg. However, we are looking for our third character here, and JS is going to head to the South Figaro Cave. So we haven't seen Phoenix Cave yet, we haven't seen Zozo Tower, we have not seen Welk, and we have not seen Kefka at Narsh in the World of Balance, and in the World of Ruin, we haven't seen... Did I say Phoenix Cave already? Sorry. We haven't seen Phoenix Cave or Mobilis.
Now, if you're looking for a character, where do you go?
I like what JS is doing here, the South Figaro Cave. This is a super quick check, and you can't peek the reward, so let's just go do it. If our runners had Warp Stones, we would consider Zozo Tower, but I like this play here, and another easy boss for JS. And that should be a one-shot. Thank you very much, leader. Alright, let's see what we got here. Alright, it is another Esper. Ooh, magic power +1. That's really nice in a Doom flag set, because remember, you do have -10 magic power for all of your characters.
You don't see too many runners go out of the way for that item in the clock.
Yeah, Chad is looking for something. I don't know what it is, because he's got a Valiant Knife and fixed dice already, right? So he has builds that his team could use immediately. Let's just go and do checks. But I know that some runners like to be thorough in the beginning and then just not check anything, like in the middle of the seed. So that is certainly an option. Dragoon Boots there, in case we find... yeah, he's going to pick it up anyway, just in case. Because as you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, some of the things that your characters can get from dead checks are those two big lances. However, JS is going to decide to make his fixed dice user into a Dragoon for now, which is pretty good. Was that Shadow in the Yeti Cave dancing up there? I think that was. And Narshguard means this is not a character here. Oh no. It is Doomgaze. And Locke, unfortunately, he's getting really unlucky with these level spells, huh?
He very much so is.
Alright, so up comes Locke, and down goes Terra. So that was a really nice pickup there from JS, otherwise this fight would have been over. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, we got GT Behemoth, Great Behemoth, Giant Behemoth, Goat Behemoth. What does GT stand for? Your guess is good as mine. Gran Turismo Behemoth, maybe?
See a little car underneath him.
Gut Behemoth.
Chadius is outside of South Figaro, World of Ruin, taking some grind fights.
Yeah, unfortunately, can't keep his Lock alive with the chest, or not the chest, the Curse Shield, so it looks like JS is going to come back for Doomgaze. He knows that this is not a character, so at least he has that information, and sometimes information is good, because he knows that, oh no, I think that was a reset all the way back to the end of Leite River here, so we are going to have to take an Esper off the board for JS. That was the one from the South Figaro Cave. Yeah, so anyway, as I was saying, sometimes knowledge is good to have because he knows that he's not going to find Doomgaze anywhere else, right? Because the bosses are shuffled and not random. And he knows that that isn't a character, so maybe he'll go off in another direction after getting Alexander again here from the South Figaro Cave check. And he'll go in a different direction to try and find that third character.
Yeah, he'll save that check for when he needs an Illumina later.
Yeah, so if we do get past that Doomgaze, there is an Ice Shield behind him as well, because that was the other choice at the Narsh Weapon Shop. Thankfully, this fight is only leader and it gets one shot, so not a huge time loss there from JS.
Gets that Magicite back on the board.
Yeah, that was the Magic Power +1 as well. So we'll see if he goes back into Narsh to go and pick up those Dragoon boots for Terra. I'm fine with just using the fight command with fixed dice for now. It does take a little bit longer, but jump also takes 2 turns instead of 1. So I think fight with fixed dice is slightly less long, right? Because you get 2 turns in instead of 1.
Right.
Oh boy! And that is what being thorough pays off for. There's an experience egg from that annoying kid in IKEA. There is also a peace ring, which is great for Locke, because now Locke can actually do stuff. And Chadius knows I can come back later and get that experience egg. I wonder if he's got enough stuff to sell now to go get it. I'd sell everything in my inventory for it.
Yeah, get 2 experience eggs, 1 on each user.
Ooh, here's a chest you don't see that often in Zozo. But yeah, as you were saying, if you what's better than 1 experience egg? 2 experience eggs.
Yep, anything after 3 is a little excessive.
Yeah, because remember, it does take up a relic slot, and every relic slot you are not populating with something that does damage. It just means your fight will take longer. And here comes Chad into the Doomgaze fight. We'll see what his
quick he
answer is for.
resets. Terra is level 15.
Oof. Doomgaze getting the best of our runners so far. Oh, hello. Flame Shield there in Zozo. And what's this boss at Dataluma? Ooh, this is Chad.
I think he got that Flame Shield.
Yeah, we could throw the Flame Shield. You're absolutely right. It's not going to teach us Fire 3, remember, or Fire 2 in this flag set. So you might as well just yeet it at Chad here. Not the runner Chad or Nook. I think that would be highly suspect of this race, if that was the case. Yeah, so you can use the Pearl Rod really effectively on Doomgaze, because the rods will do a maximum damage, defense-ignoring spell. Even with the -10 magic power, a Pearl Rod, which is Doomgaze's weakness, is still going to do a heck of a lot of damage there. The problem is, since Terra went down right away, you'd have to get her back up in order to make the best effective use of it. Thank you so much, Moogleplex, for your raid. Party of 9! Welcome to the show. As we got simultaneous boss kills, leader goes down for Chadius, and Chatternook takes Terra with him on JS's screen. But let's see what's at the top of Zozo Tower here, as JS is going to let us wait in suspense. Ooh. Just a Pearl Lance.
Now, the Pearl Lance, that's the second strongest lance in the game, isn't it?
It is, but it's really only effective on a character with jump. Now, we do know there are Dragoon Boots for sale in Narsh, so that's something we could do. However, JS already has a Ragnarok and fixed dice, so he really doesn't need that Pearl Lance right now. He is going to check Mobliz here. We can talk to the little girl, see what the reward is before we go. And that essentially leaves us chat with Kefka and Narsh, Phoenix Cave, and Mobliz as the only 3 places where our next character can be. Because we know Welk is an Esper or an item from the Narsh Guard, and we've seen basically every other check. So, Knuckly Kong, I must ask you then, where do you think our character is, and who do you think it is?
Either one is going to be not great. I'd like to see Edgar.
Alright, it is Celeste at Mobliz, which was definitely... Oh no, somebody guessed Celeste at Phoenix Cave. So, this means we either have to 1v1 a random boss for Celeste, or we could try the other 2 checks here.
Phoenix Cave going 1-1 for your parties is not ideal.
No way. So here's the thing, like, with Phoenix Cave, you also have that opportunity to get the dragon, and as we pull up our little flag set here, right, 1 dragon is auto-reflect, 3 is auto-haste, and 5 is auto-image, so that is something that our runners could decide to do, and it looks like Chadius is pulling out the Pearl Rod here on Doomgaze, so taking some advice from the chat.
Yeah, but I think he went and got a couple levels.
Yeah, his lock, unfortunately, is in the back row, which will cut his Valiant Knife damage in half. But he gets through Doomgaze here. And yeah, this is an easy enough fight at Mobliz, though.
Yeah, I don't think you could have asked for an easier fight there.
Alright, so that is Raiden behind Doomgaze, and he's going to also pick up that Ice Shield there. Let's see if he decides to continue to Kefka at Narsh. And I didn't see what command Celeste had. We'll definitely tell in just a minute. And it looks like Chadius is not going to continue on to Kefka at Narsh. We know that Shadow is behind Umaro in the Yeti Cave. Looks like Celeste is Steel, so since we already have Capture, That's not really giving us anything that we don't already have, and that is Welk down. So JS is our first runner with 3 characters, and now we could do a bunch of Celestis checks, the South Figaro Basement, the Opera House, and then all 3 of the Magitechs. As Gar points out in chat, the steal is only good for enemies that have high physical evade, because capture, what it does is does the fight command first. And if that fight command misses, then it won't do the steal. So things like Pugs or Magimaster you won't be able to use capture on because of the high physical evade. Alright, Chad is heading up to Zozo Tower, so we know that this is a Pearl Lance. And we'll see where JS decides to go.
A little bit more looting.
Alright, while our runners are looking, going over some looting and some other things, we'll bring up the standings again for the 3rd week of Warring Triads. This is the first race of week number 3. We're over in Group D, the Legend Group, where Team Raiden is sitting pretty at 2-0 on the top of their division, while Phoenix picked up a W in the recent week, so they are now in 3rd place there with a negative time differential. So hopefully JS is looking to strike first to help get his team back into the swing of things here in the 3rd week. As we see Chad fighting Chad, that is some some intense violence coming in.
I don't know if he's got the fixed dice equipped on Terra or not.
Yeah, I still think we're swinging a Excalibur, which is a Pearl Elemental Sword, and Chatternook is weak to Pearl. So this will do a little bit more damage, but Fixed Dice probably has a higher damage ceiling here. Oof. Down goes Locke, who is our Curse Shield Uncursorer. Yeah, I think what I would do if I was Chadius is I would put the Curse Shield onto Terra, because I think Terra has a Minerva on. So that will nullify out a lot of the elemental weaknesses that the Curse Shield gives you. Meanwhile, JS, not even checking the basement, is heading right into Magitech Factory, so we'll see if he decides to do all 3 stops. It's Esper item only on the first 2 stops, and then it's guaranteed progression at the end. Alright, so Chatternook goes down for Chadius, and he'll get his useless Pearl Lance at the top. Atma Weapon in the chest there for JS, so that is another item for one of his characters to use. One of the good things about getting these 3 characters, right, Knuckly, is that they can definitely use the big beefy swords that we may be getting.
Oh, yes. That was a Genji glove that JS just found.
Yeah, so lots of goods in the treasure chests here at the Magitech Factory. Alright, so what is Celeste doing for his squad? Oh, Genji Glove would be nice if we get another one of those big beefy swords.
Yeah, Celeste, I would love to see a Genji Glove Illumina, or Genji Glove Ragnarok, or Genji Glove Illumina Ragnarok.
Alright, so Chadius is going to go head up to Kefka and Narsh. Maybe this is a potential reset if there is not a character here. So yeah, it came down in this seed to our third character being at one of 3 locations, and all of them make you split your party up. Not ideal, right? Kefka and Narsh makes you split your party. So does Mobliz by the Baba Breath, and so does Phoenix Cave. So we'll see what's at the top of Kefka and Narsh here, and that is Gao! So it looks like we're going to have multiple ways through this seed, Knuckly.
I think I'd prefer Celeste's checks over Gao's.
Yeah, I mean, Gao's 2 checks, especially early in the race, are very quick. And I just totally jinxed the Delta Luck here. But usually they're pretty fast. And Serpent Trench is nice because it allows you to get forced encounters without fighting a boss. And the Hide Knight's down for JS at the first spot in the Magitech Factory, so we'll see what the reward is here. And another easy boss, thank goodness. Ooh, more fixed dice.
Set of fixed dice.
Yeah, so we'll see if any of our users can do it. It looks like JS is going double fixed dice here for Terra.
Now he just needs an offering. That is such a long animation, though.
Yeah, question from the chat. Is this the flag set where the Paladin Shield does not teach Ultima? That is correct. There is no Ultima learnable in this flag set. However, you still get the Paladin Shield, which is the best defensive relic in the game, and it's really good for the endgame, as we do see GP Rain tools Gao. So I guess it's good that our runners held on to the drill, because that's something that Gao can definitely use in this flag set here. That 60 Vigor is pretty high, so I think that'll be, even Gao with drill is not a terrible build. Meanwhile, that was Ultros, in case you missed it, for JS getting Ifrit, so that's his third Esper. Meteor is actually a decent spell in this flag set. It's one of our only, AoE spells that we can learn, so that's nice to see. And Chad has got Gao, so we'll see if he decides to go right away to the Veld and then through the Serpent Trench.
Chad pick up dried meat?
He checked so many shops, I would have to assume that he picked up dried meat at some point. If not, then this is one of those seeds where dried meat is hard to come by. And it looks like JS is continuing through on the Mode 7 minecart ride. So he'll get either an Esper or a character at the end of this. Yep, saw the dried meat in the inventory there, so we'll see how many battles it takes Chadius to get the reward. So this is also a character or Esper. So 2 guaranteed pieces of progression we're going to see on either side of the screen here. Ooh, Cat Trot. That's nice to learn spells. We just have to actually be able to hit it, but thankfully fixed dice never misses. So there goes this little cactus. Cacti.
Go.
Oh! Apparently I didn't go through puberty either. As there is Go-Go. So unfortunately, we don't really have a great command that Go-Go can put on their party, other than tools, right? And we could just use drill over again, but even with plus 20 vigor, Go-Go is only at 41 vigor, which is yikes. Yeah, I like Go-Go is one of my favorite palette-looking characters in the seeds where there's palette swaps. And it's Ifrit and Shiva at the end of the Magitech Factory instead of the beginning. We didn't learn any ice spells to damage Ifrit, but we have fixed ice and we have Atma Weapon that will ignore Ifrit's defense here. So we'll see if we get through this fight okay. And Chadius is dipping his toes down into the Serpent Trench. Come on in. The water is fine.
That was a solo target flare star.
Yeah, you hate to see it. Alright, so Chadius using the chainsaw, and there is a 1 in 4 chance that it gets the instant death, and it does. Wow. Lots of nice instant death procs so far in this seed. Oh, Locke just hitting the deck again. Meanwhile,
And he
Jay
doesn't even have the curse shield on anymore.
I think it's on Locke. I mean,
He
not
put it
Locke,
on Gao.
Gao, sorry. Alright, and that is a 2 Esper and 1 Fixed Dice Magitech Factory. Just got to get through Atma Weapon first for JS here. So far, Celeste's path is coming up empty in terms of characters.
Atma Weapon looks scary, but he is not too bad to deal with.
Unless he starts doing stuff like this. Thankfully, his magic power is not all that high. Yeah, unfortunately, Quarter only hitting Celeste means that her Atma Weapon's going to do a lot less damage than it normally would. But Terra throwing out the dice takes care of it. And again, with the instant death proc from Chadius on the chainsaw. And that shield has now been uncursed.
I think my favorite thing for Go-Go is throw and sword tech.
Putting the Paladin shield on the Valiant Knife user, that is a bold strategy there, Cotton. And is Odin at the end of the Magitech Factory. And it's got X-Zone and Magic Power +1. So another decent Esper for JS. However, I think he's looking for character number 4 here.
Now, if this in the basement is not a character, would you still do it and bump scaling, or would you leave it for later?
That's a great question. I think that the answer, as always, is it depends. Does the Esper have good stat bonuses on it? Does it have good spells on it? Stuff that I need right now. If the answer is no, then yeah, I leave it for later. But I think we're still early enough where bumping up the scaling is not as big of a deal. Bumping up the scaling later on in the seed is much, much worse, because the enemies just get that much stronger. Whereas now I think with JS's build, right, he's got an Atma Weapon user, he has a Ragnarok user, and he has a double Fixed Dice user. I think he could take out enemies that are higher levels than him, which also means he gets more XP, too. So it's sort of like a synergistic relationship in that way. And there it is, the dream, the sunburnt Yeti washed up on the shores of Nikeah. So now we know where Umaro is, and that also means we know where Shadow is, as JS gets Phantom, so that's Esper number 5 for him. So Celeste's path can be a red herring here, right, Knuckly, if there's no characters.
Very true.
Yeah, so I think I go get Shadow right away, and I go to the Floating Continent right away.
Yeah, because that's another one with guaranteed progression.
Yep.
Now, do you think either of our runners are going to focus on dragons?
Yeah, so Auto Reflect is interesting, right? Because it doesn't allow you to cast positive spells on your own characters. So we know we've seen Cure 2 floating around. I don't know if we've seen Life 3 or any of those other spells that would really save our bacon. I'm inclined to get auto reflect unless I have a really good reason not to, because it helps out a lot in the statue fights towards the end there, as we're going to buy ourselves some progression there. That's Kieran from the Tizen Thief. Ice 3 on that spell. Let's go. Yeah, there are experience eggs for sale in World of Balance and IKEA. Chadius has passed them up again, and it looks like JS is going to show us whether or not Celeste has a dead end with her checks, because this is the last one of Celeste's checks with the Opera House disruption. I think we have a Strength +1 Esper, and I think I'd rather give the Strength +1 Esper to my Valiant Knife user than the HP +50%. But if I had two people that needed, fight boosting stats, then I could certainly see the HP plus bonus. Chad is having some indecision as to go to Phoenix Cave or to go to the top of Narsh, and it looks like he's going to go get Shadow here right now.
Yeah, with Yeti, I would pick top of Narsh over Phoenix Cave. Phoenix Cave is another one of those that I typically don't like doing. I just don't have a lot of experience with it.
Ooh, some level magics here. Yep, let's get the heck out of there. Life 3. Okay, I guess Life 3 can't be reflected, so maybe Life 3 is not a problem. Interesting, I didn't know that. So thank you, CC Runner, for pointing that out in the chat. Cure 3, however, does get reflected, so that's a good thing to know, as I will not be running Doom's flags this week. I think I have Poltergeist flags this week for my matchup. Do you know what flags you're running, Buckley, for this week?
Unfortunately, I'm running Goddess.
Goddess, ooh.
You are running Poltergeist this week. So I have Goddess against Christopher Workin.
Quay! Work. Alright, so we will have some more races here on the Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide Twitch channel. So stay tuned to our Discord, where we announce our races. Or you can hit that follow button and you'll get notified by email whenever we go live. If you have that setting turned on, obviously. Alright, number 128 here at the Opera House disruption. So this is JS's last chance at a character from Celeste's checks before he has to go back to either Kefka at Narsh or Phoenix Cave. So let's see who or what is going to be picking up Maria here in the Opera House.
Dragon and Narsh.
Oh, it is a soldier sprite. So Celeste is a bunch of dead ends. That means that we have to go get Gao at Kefka at Narsh, or maybe something is lurking in the Phoenix Cave for us. It is at least a Magicite, though, so it's more progression for JS, just not the character he was looking for here. Strength +2 and Mute, though, on Ragnarok, so that's a nice Esper to get. Now we have at least magic from Final Kefka solved, and we can give some excellent stat bonuses to our Ragnarok swinging characters. It looks like JS is going to go up to Kefka at Narsh to go get Gao. And since we do have to go get Shadow, presumably, through Umaro's checks here, I think we're going to get our chance to go at our dragons, Knuckly, right? Because we can go get this one here, we can go get another one in Phoenix Cave if we want to go through that long, arduous stretch to go do it. And for Shadow, there aren't really any dragons in the way, but there's always that Opera House dragon that's easy to get in and out of.
Very true. I think 3 dragons is easy in this flag set. 4 and 5 depends on what characters you get.
Yeah, we could always do
Unless
the dragons in Kefka's tower, but that requires a little bit of party shimmying, so that's a little bit less likely. Alright, so both runners are in Narsh. We got Chadius in World of Ruin Narsh, and JS in World of Balance Narsh. So, even though JS got his third character before Chadius did, unfortunately that third character did not lead to more characters, so we're back at square one. So I would have to give Chadius the advantage here, just being further along in the character chain, in spite of JS having more espers here.
That is true.
Oh boy. Yeti, Magimaster.
We've got a lot to deal with him now.
Yeah, we have Drill, we've got Valiant Knife, we've got Fixed Dice. But it is Magimaster gating one of our characters. So this is pretty evil.
I don't think Chad has Fixed Dice equipped.
Yeah, so using Morph on lock. So Morph will actually deal 2 times the damage from either magical or physical attacks, and it will also reduce incoming magical attacks by 50%, but he's got Auto Reflect on here, so some of the attacks that Magimaster is going to be pumping out are not going to do any damage. The problem is, he might heal himself, and that would be no good, and wow, Umara with the lucky Pearl proc, damaging Magimaster there. And yeah, here is the problem. Very high physical evade means even if you can have a fight with ignoring physical defense like the Atma weapon that Terra has and the Valiant Knife that Locke is using, you actually have to hit Magimaster in order for the damage to go through.
That is true. You can do all the damage in the world that you want, but if you can't connect with it...
Yeah, so the other good thing about Fixed Dice is that it will always hit. So there is none of that having to take into consideration the evade of Magimaster, and that's unfortunate. Double bolt spells healing him for almost 4,000 damage there, as JS does pick up Gao and has his party in a 3 formation. So he will go ahead and get the rewards that Gao has. Surprised that JS didn't pick up the cat hood there in the shop. Definitely has the money for it.
Yeah, the cat hood is one of my favorite accessories.
Yeah, so Chadius has to pick up Gao, because Gao is one of the only people that can actually damage Magimaster with both GP Rain and Drill. Both of those things ignore defense, actually. This fight's just going to take a while. Given we have Reflect and we've got Minervas and Paladin Shields, I don't think Chad can die really in this fight. I just think it's just going to take a very long amount of time.
He's doing about equal damage with Fixed Dice, or with GP Rain and Drill.
Yeah, so in order for him to really utilize the Fixed Dice, he's got to put Locke in the front row. The row will actually reduce Fixed Dice damage by half. So maybe that's something to point out at the end when we get him in here for an interview.
And I don't think he sold the Fixed Dice, so he could definitely switch Terra's equipment in the battle and switch over to Fixed Dice.
And here's Go-Go for JS after having picked up those that dried meat in Narsh. Sorry, correction from the chat. Yes, so Fixed Dice you can use in the back row. Valiant Knife gets its damage half if you're in the back row. Yeti Body Slams also will ignore defense, so that's why at least some of the time Yeti can do some positive damage. And there it is! Magimaster finally down.
we're going to see a new check on JS's side. Because he loaded in just
Ew.
Go-Go.
Ew, that was an ice shield after going through that slog of Magimaster. But you do have to do the Tritalk check before you can do the Yeti check. So this is something that JS may have to do anyway if there is not a character here in Go-Go's Zone Eater.
So both of Gao's checks yielded a character.
Yeah, because we didn't go through the Serpent Trench yet for JS, did we?
Mm-mm. But we did for Chad, which got us Yeti.
Alright, digging in the monster box here, looking for that offering to go with either the Atma weapon or the Valiant knife. You could also use it for fixed ice, too. We do not want to use it for that Ragnarok. Just finding some PM stalkers, though. Alright, so we do know, viewers, that the Yeti reward is Shadow. So that'll be Chadius' character go mode. And we need to get 7 characters for Skip, is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
7 characters, 12 espers, and 24 checks.
Or, not and.
Right.
If it was and, then we'd be here all day.
No one would get Skip.
Yeah. Alright, Air Force over there, and it is an Esper at Go-Go's Cave. So we're gonna have to go get Yeti at the Serpent Trench for JS, unless he decides to pivot to the Phoenix Cave here. That's the one check we haven't seen, I don't believe.
Correct. We have not seen Phoenix Cave from either runner.
Oh boy. Thanks for being mean, Air Force.
You got Yeti doing Yeti things, attacking the wrong one.
Alright, it looks like Go-Go can use the fixed dice, so that is what JS is going to use here. And that's Chadius getting Shadow there from Air Force at the end of Umaro's cave. So now the question is, where is Chadius going to go? Ugh, 18 magic power on Shadow. Yikes. JS gonna head through the Serpent Trench here. He's gonna pick up his Umaro at the end, and then we'll see where he decides to go. Because he has 7 Espers, so once he gets Umaro, he'll be in, I guess, in the lead? I guess you would kind of call it that? Or has the advantage? It's so hard to tell with Worlds Collide, because there can be multiple paths through seeds, right? So
Very true. Because Chad could get real lucky, hit Floating Continent, and get 3 espers.
well, he's in the best position to get a 7th character at the moment.
Yeah, because we know where Celeste is. He doesn't, but we do.
But there has to be more characters down the rabbit hole of Shadow's checks, right? We're at a dead end if we don't go do more of Shadow stuff or whatever's in the Phoenix Cave.
True. I'm curious as to if we will actually see Phoenix Cave.
Yeah, I think it depends on if our runners value taking on additional dragons or not. I would have thought that if we were going to do the Phoenix Cave, it would have been once we got 5 characters. but both of our runners have at least 5 characters, and they're not going there. So, well, Chadius at least will get another Esper here at Gogo's spot, because we know that that's the reward at the end.
Yep.
Ooh, nice menu pause. Oh, but it doesn't work there. So if you don't know, if you jump from one platform to the other and you go into a menu right away, there is a chance that the NPC will move as the game is transitioning from the, I guess, the game screen, for lack of a better word, to the menu screen. So there's a chance that that NPC can move a couple tiles to the right, and you could actually be real clear of him. But then there's also times like that where it can backfire on you and the NPC can actually move closer to you. So another thing that Hefe points out in the chat is something that our runners can do now that they have 6 characters, is they can go dive in Kefka's tower and clear out some bosses to get some levels and do it while they are relatively lower on scaling. Chadius does not have a tracker on his stream, so we don't know how many checks he's got. JS is at 14 and will be at 15 at the end of the Serpent Trench. So their enemies are going to be level, a little bit higher than 40, so 41, 42, which is way less than they'll probably be towards the end of their run when they're at level 50-ish. So it might be worth it to clear out some of the bosses while they're easier now versus having to go back in later, and doing it with a split-up party as well. Esper number 5 there for Chadius, as JS taking the long way here through the Serpent Trench. Yeah, I think it would depend on what my offense is and what I feel comfortable with. With an Atma weapon, with a Valiant Knife, with fixed dice, those are pretty universal. You could kind of beat all of the bosses that way, right? It's good against Spicy Chicken with his very high physical defense for the Atma weapon in the fixed dice case. For the Valiant Knife case, it's good against Goddess because she has very low physical defense. And then for Doom's case, we need something to break through the image status in his second phase. So that would be the fixed dice, because the fixed dice will always hit. Did JS pick up the experience eggs in IKEA? No, he's still got the same amount of money that he did before.
Yep, and we see Chad in the cave on the Veldt. Still looking for that offering.
And here it is. So the problem is, will Yeti play nice? We do have a Noise Blaster, but that will cause Katana Soul to get muddled. However, being unmuddled is if anything does an attack against him. So basically, Katana Soul has to go before Umoro goes, and he does. There is the Slayer Edge. So now Chadius with a huge advantage, having an offering to go with his Atma weapon or his Valiant Knife rather.
And enough money to go buy a second experience egg if he chooses.
Yeah, so that Katana Soul gives a lot of GP. I think that was, close to maximum amount of GP for that fight. At this point, though, I don't know if an experience egg would help more than it would hurt. I would rather find damage boosting things than experience eggs, just so that fights can get over with quickly. But
yep,
I don't know. That's a good point of discussion for us and for the chat, right?
That is an Esper on the ground in the cave on the Veldt.
Alright, so that's one of Shadow's checks accounted for. We still have Floating Continent, and I don't believe we've seen Gao Manor yet.
We have not.
But Chadius at least needs this to get into the tower, right? He needs Espers. So Good on him for getting this one out of the way. And it's even better that he found that offering there in the chest. JS unfortunately getting bodied by Blue Dragon before defeating it. Terra will not get the XP for this fight. Terra doing 5k damage with that Atma weapon.
And Locke is still back row with that Valiant knife.
Yeah, so his damage output will be cut in half compared to if he was at the front row. However, right, being in the back row does have its benefits. He will take less physical damage. However, I think Locke also has the Paladin shield on, which is probably not the right call for equipment. Paladin shield absorbs 4 elements and nullifies the other 4. And with a Valiant Knife, you do more damage with less HP, right? So the more HP you're missing, the higher your damage will do. So usually you like to not put, you know, HP absorbing things on your characters with the Valiant Knife. A little pet of the dog action there. So Chadius validating his seed before getting his 6th Esper. And JS has to get past Magimaster here.
You know, for a second, I forgot that Magimaster was guarding Shadow. Well, the path to Shadow.
Yep. So JS at least has things that can ignore defense, and there you go. Using that flame shield probably would have been better with Locke or Terra or anybody that's not Gogo using that that flame shield, because Gogo probably has the least magic power of all of his users there. But that is what you usually do against Magimasters. Throw your highest elemental thing at it first, and there is a desperation attack from Terra.
Playing Worlds Collide, I've seen more desperation attacks out of the characters than any time playing vanilla.
Jackpot there for Chadius. Ragnarok in a shop, and everybody can use it. So now it's time to sell the world and get yourself some more Ragnaroks. Golden Shocker pointing out in the chat that everybody's got to get at least another 10 to 15 levels, so an experience egg will still help out for sure. It's not like we're at the very, very end of the seed, but we're getting towards the end of the seed here.
I think my least favorite place to find an experience egg is in Kefka's tower.
Oh yeah, that's always fun. Desperation attacks don't get any sort of buff for Worlds Collide. I just think, you know, you play more runs, so you see them more often. And maybe in the vanilla games, you don't normally keep your characters at low health, but since we're doing sort of speed runs, right, we're trying to get by with less, so it makes more sense that you'll see them more often with this game.
Yep. I think I saw Setzers for the first time a couple seeds ago on my end. And then I was watching Double Down do one of his runs, and he was talking about slot with Setzer, and I realized that I have never seen Jackpot.
Oh, the Doom or Joker Doom?
Yeah.
I've never seen... That's the one thing I haven't seen in Worlds Collide, is somebody do Joker Doom or reverse Joker Doom. Well, you don't really want reverse Joker Doom, but manipulating slots like that to do Joker Doom. I'm sure that one of our bigger slots experts, like Drew or someone else, has done it before, but I've never actually seen it. And I've only seen Gogo's Desperation attack twice. It's called X-Video, and it's a giant rock that gets chucked at the enemy. It's really hilarious to see. Alright, so Chadius does find Celeste in the basement here, and is going to pick up Celeste, so this will be his skip. So, skip is at 7 characters, right? So,
yes.
Chadius will get his skip here. But, does not have Kefka unlock requirements.
Yep, I've been finding with these flag sets that if I get skip, I usually get it before unlock.
Yeah, there are times when I will plan my route around getting skip after getting unlock. Because I will dive into Kefka's Tower as soon as I get a party of 6, depending upon what my offense is. So I am hoping that I get skip through, whatever the requirements are. Because then I don't have to walk through the first part of Kefka's Tower twice.
Right.
And there is our first dead.
I don't know if you saw the damage from Locke, but looks like he's got that Ragnarok equipped over there now, and he did almost 6k.
Which runner are we talking about?
JS.
Yeah, so I think he has got the Ragnarok with the Gauntlet, and the Gauntlet basically increases the battle, or doubles the battle power of the weapon that you're using. Ragnarok's battle power is 255, so it's basically a 512 battle power item, and the battle power actually gets calculated multiple times in the physical damage attack. It gets calculated as part of your Vigor stat, and then it gets calculated as part of the overall damage there. And that is skip for both of our runners there.
Almost simultaneously.
And JS has one Esper lead on Chadius, but this is still anybody's race here, and that's why I tend to not try and use the term in the lead. I try and use an advantage where possible, but again, the advantage is not really all that much here.
We do get to see Gal Manor finally,
hey.
And that's Mog.
Yeah, we don't want that. Unless, the problem is we're running out of checks, right? So the only thing that gets you more checks is more characters. So we may have to go and pick up the Moogle if we don't get to our 7 Espers before KT.
Yep. So with JS, he's already done all of Celeste's checks. He's done Yetis. He's done Gaus.
That's right.
He's done Go-Go's.
Mm-hmm.
So he just got Shadow. Is he going back for Whelk?
Yeah, this was Doomgaze. And this was an Esper, I believe?
It was an Esper.
Alright, so that'll give him 8, but he still needs one more. And he did not buy the Tzen Thief Esper, I don't think. So that might be his path to 9 before doing any of Shadow's stuff. As Celeste unfortunately goes down there in that first fight. Looking at his checks, he also has Phoenix Cave he hasn't done. And Auction House is also on the table, because in this flag set, you can have up to 2 Espers, I think, in the Auction House, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. Chad's going to get his 7th Esper from the basement of South Figaro.
And just like that, a terrible TV show. No, we are tied again at Esper count. 7-7 here.
We're tied at characters, Espers, and dragons.
So for those of you that are heavy drinkers, you also have probably one of the better whiskey drinks, right? The 7-7.
If I drink whiskey, I usually go with Knob Creek.
If I drink whiskey, it has to be the peanut butter whiskey, because I am not a fan of whiskey at all. So I want something that tastes nothing like whiskey.
Gaze went down much faster this time for JS than it did the first time.
Little PB&J shot action. Have you ever had one of those? It's peanut butter whiskey and blueberry Red Bull. It's interesting.
I have not.
Yeah, it's called a PB&J shot.
It does sound interesting because I do enjoy whiskey and I do enjoy Red Bull. I should not enjoy Red Bull. No, that gives you kidney stones.
Yeah, it's terrible for you. There are Espers in the auction house for Chadius, so it looks like he's got... Oh, I thought he had way more money, but that's right. He bought all those all those Ragnaroks. Forgot about that. Little hiccup. He could sell both of his fixed dice, though, and have plenty of money. There we go. So the goal with the auction house is, in the world of Ruin, there is a $50,000 reward, and that or rather a $50,000 item that shows up 50% of the time, as Kefka Unlock is complete for JS there, and first try Magicite for Chadius. So this Magicite is the $20,000 reward. It is a 25% chance of showing up the first time. It goes up to 50% if you buy that 50k reward tier. Or item, I should say. It's not actually a reward. And that's Crusader for Chadius, so he's at 8 Espers. And he's not checking for another one. He's just saying, hey, I got really lucky. I'm getting the hell out of here. Alright, so where is Chadius' 9th Esper hiding? Because he's done Auction House and he's done Tzen. And he's done Velt Cave, so what is he missing?
Magitech?
Oh, that's right. There was 2 in there, wasn't there? And there was 1 in the Opera House Disruption. Alright, going back and getting another Ragnarok. He's got enough money for it, why not? It is unfortunate that JS decided to not go to do the Velt Cave check, because then he would have been spit out at World of Balance or World of Ruin Famasa, where those Ragnaroks are located.
Very true.
Alright, we'll swap audio here, as I think JS will be our first runner in the tower. Just taking a little pit stop. And where is Chad going to go? He's going to dive into Magitech Factory, just like you said, Knuckly. So he will get his Esper on the second check, not the first one. Gao's father's house is where Mog is located, so that is how to get even further on through the seed, and maybe I lied. He was just going for the heal. Where is he going? Oh, he's checking Gao Manor first. Alright, so let's take a look at the levels of our runners. It looks like for JS, he's at the high 30s on most of his characters, except probably the one with the experience egg. It'll be definitely higher, right? It'll be in the 40s. So he's heading right into Skip, and his bosses are going to be at pretty high levels. He's at 20 checks, so his bosses here, the statues that are shuffled, will all be level 50. So Locke is level 49, but the rest of his team is only in the high 30s. So this will be an interesting challenge here for JS Knuckly.
Tough challenge.
Alright, so it looks like Chadius does come back to the Magitech Factory. So he'll be in go mode pretty shortly. And this is a terrible fight for Kefka's Tower, the Tentacles.
Yep, you don't want to do this with only 2 characters.
The grabby pasta will slow you down and will sort of... It won't really beat you up. You're not really ever in danger of losing this fight. It's just how long is it going to take you? Because once they grab you, you cannot do any turns and you can't damage them, right? So this is just an utterly annoying fight in Kefka's Tower. Hiding in the Hide Knights here for Chadius. So given the fact that JS is already fighting bosses, I don't think he's going to go get his other 2 dragons for auto haste.
I don't think so either.
And have we seen Fenrir or Golem on the table? I don't think we've seen those either.
No, I don't think we have calmness protection. I mean, we have Phantom, which is like discount calmness protection, but...
It's calmness protection for people who are not terrified like me. Oh no, Chadius' Lock is confused and has the Valiant Knife offering. This could get ugly, folks, real fast. Okay, so we do have Phantom, but we don't have Comless protection other than Phantom. Whew! Chadius taking out Raiden before Locke gets to go and possibly obliterate his whole entire team.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
We do have instant death, right? I think we have Espers that taunt X-Zone, and we do have Mute on one of our Espers, so we're fine for tiers 1 and 2. It's just tier 3 may be a problem here with no access to Comless protection. So we would get auto image if we defeated 5 dragons, but I think 5 is way too much at this point in time.
Yep. Without having at least 3 before going into the tower, 5 is kind of out of the question.
Alright, so JS finds the spicy chicken in his vanilla spot, deciding to use GP Rain with Gao, because GP Rain is defense ignoring, so that's a good thing for a high defensive boss like Poltergeist, and is deciding to chuck some elemental shields at the problem. Yeah, so the unfortunate thing about this fight here is that he's got his Locke in this spot, and Locke has that Ragnarok. Ooh, there goes Gao. So unless there is a flare proc, JS is going to have to figure out a new strategy there, and that is go mode for Chadius, taking out Ultros in the Magitech factory to get his 9th Esper. So his levels are also a bit low, right? They're in the mid-30s, and one of his characters is higher than that. So this will be a real test of skill here, Knuckly, to see who will get past these statue bosses first.
Terra is the highest level for Chadius, but it's still much lower than Locke in terms of experience gained.
Chadius does, however, have the Valiant Knife as an advantage here, where JS does not. We'll see if that factors in at all. But I think we're mostly even. I know that there's a couple of Espers that are different, right? Because Chadius went to the auction house and to the Velt Cave, whereas JS finished the Magitech factory and went through some of other Celeste checks like the Opera House.
Yep.
Alright, so JS decided to put the Ice Shield now on Locke to nullify out any fire attacks and absorb any ice attacks. Won't do anything with Wave Cannon, because that is a lightning-based attack. Oh boy. The good thing is that with Auto Reflect, if this happens, where Stop comes out, there we go. It's like the game knew what I was going to say. Love when that happens. Meanwhile, Chadius going with the chainsaw, hoping for that instant death proc on the lower left noodle. So that's the one that can be instant death. Fortunately, game is not playing this time around. Ooh, 9 HP Go-Go! Oh, there goes Go-Go. Yeah, and that's why you want the Ice Shield in that fight for JS, nullifying out that Flare Star that took him out earlier. Oh boy, but this is gonna hurt. Alright. So far, Spicy Chicken 2 and our runner 0. So this is where the seed actually begins, friends. In my opinion, anyway. Alright, JS going with the Snow Muffler on Locke. That will up the physical and magical defense a lot compared to the force armor. And here comes attempt number 3. Will the third time be the charm for JS? Stop right away is always nice to see as well.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's one of the reasons why you do want to get auto-reflect in the seed, is because these statue bosses will sometimes hurt themselves. Or at the very least, they will just not hurt you. Maybe they'll heal themselves, right? In the case of Goddess throwing out lightning attacks or Doom throwing out ice attacks.
Yep, that's a little disappointing to see.
A front row for Chadius finally with Lock, but we're going with Atma Weapon Paladin Shield this time. And let's see what's in the Goddess statue.
A better combo.
Oh yeah, that synergizes well, because the Atma Weapon does its maximum damage when you're at full HP. And just like the Sasquatch theory, we have a Yeti frozen in a block of ice. Alright, so Poltergeist is in his vanilla spot, and Doom and Goddess have swapped spots. So thankfully Chadius brought his Offering party over to the Doom side, right? Because Offering will allow him to bypass the image status that Doom gets in the second phase of this fight. He better be careful though, he's getting bullied a lot with with damage. And it looks like now he's swapping the Atma Weapon to the Valiant Knife after getting a few hits to the chin. That's a really nice heads-up strategy there from Chadius. Alright, we're on phase 2 of Doom here, and Poltergeist is finally down for JS. Nicely done. Do not be afraid to swap equipment between your parties when in Kefka's Tower in order to get past these statue boss fights. They are going to be way more difficult because your party is split and they're also level 50 versus the maximum in Ultros League, which is our standard race flags, is only level 40.
That is very true. It is super beneficial to be able, if you've got one Offering and 3 users that have an Atma Weapon or can use the Valiant Knife, then just bounce it in between the statue fights. Put it on the main person again before you go into Final Kefka, but...
Alright, and Chadius...
Don't be afraid to...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Don't be afraid to shuffle your advantages.
Alright, and Chadius takes down his first statue, so we're at 1 statue apiece. JS has taken care of Poltergeist. Chadius has taken care of Doom, and we'll see how JS fares against Doom here on this side. JS putting on the Experience Egg to get a little bit more levels under his characters here in Kefka's Tower. That's kind of a bit of a risky strategy. I don't really like to do that. I like to get my damage up in Kefka's Tower to get these fights over with versus the extra levels. I don't know about you, Knuckly, if you share that same opinion.
I'm actually really bad at remembering to equip relics.
Okay, so you're pleading the 5th there. I gotcha. And yeah, this is a reset for me here. If I'm JS, both of his characters are frozen, and we don't have any fire magic to unthaw our characters out. So it's gonna cost you, oh, I don't know, 45 seconds, 60 seconds to unthaw once you're frozen. It actually gets sped up if you have haste on. So if we did kill 3 dragons, then the freeze status gets sped up here as to when it clears. And Chadius is taking in a similar group to go fight Goddess over on his side. We'll see if he has better luck than JS is having at the moment. Yeah, and here's the problem with a physical party going up against Goddess is that pesky love token means that now Shadow can't use the fight command, otherwise he'll just be hitting himself. Thankfully, we have Offering on that Atma weapon, so that will bypass the love token protection that Goddess has. And Drill is not a fight command, so that means Drill will be effective against Goddess as well. JS has finally got his party back. However, I notice he does not have the Offering on the Atma weapon, so I wonder what he's going to do for the second phase of this fight here.
Swing for the fences and hope something connects.
That is... that's one strategy.
It's not a great strategy, but it's one that I've used a few times.
Another freeze, and that's a reset for JS there. Chadius, meanwhile, getting by his second statue. So all of a sudden, I think we might have another lead change. However, JS has killed arguably the most difficult of the statue bosses with Poltergeist. So we'll see if Chadius can get through that. One thing you can do, and I don't know, I wasn't paying attention to the spells on the Espers all that much. If you have the cast Dispel, that could actually get rid of the image and reflect status that that Doom has on the second phase there.
I always forget about Dispel.
Which spell? Dispel. Yeah, it is very useful to remove status effects from your party or removing the positive ones from someone else, as JS is throwing dice and drills at the problem here for Goddess. Getting
I feel like that's not a bad play.
Yeah, getting way luckier here so far with no love token. Of course, as I said it. Why did I have to say it? I'm sorry, JS. That's my fault there. Yeah, and Tara's gonna kill herself here. Or not. Yep, that's my fault, chat. Put the blame on me there. Maybe I'll just mute myself for a second and just stop talking.
I believe the Chadius does have Atma Weapon Offering on Terra for this fight.
That'll be good because the Atma weapon does ignore the very high physical defense of Poltergeist.
Yeah, but she's swinging for around 4k per swing.
Yeah, that's 16k a turn, so Poltergeist will probably be dead on the next turn. So it shows you the power of the Offering there, so that's one of Chadius' big advantages. When he did the Cave on the Veldt, he was able to get the Offering out of the box, and there it is, third statue boss down for him.
JS's side, we see him utilizing the Quick spell.
Very nice.
Taking out the Goddess statue.
Yeah, so Quick will give you 2 turns in a row, and the enemies can't counter between your 2 turns. So that gives him or would have given him rather, a potential of having 4 fixed dice rolls before getting the love token counter. So that's a really nice heads-up strategy to get around that love token problem that he was having. However, he's going to have to hurry up and figure out what to do against Doom, because Chadius is on the precipice of heading up to Final Kefka here.
I don't know if JS was able to find sleeping bags. I see he's stocked up on tents.
Yeah, tents will take a little while longer than sleeping bags do. So that's usually why we see sleeping bags coming out for our runners, is because we we tend to want to go fast. This is a speed run after all. And here it is, Chadius heading up to final Kefka as JS is equipping double Atma weapon for this fight against Doom here.
And both of our runners are making very good time in this seed. I know sometimes the Doom flags can take really long or they can go really quick, and this one seems to be one of the quicker ones.
JS also using fixed ice on his two other minions there. And that's good because fixed ice will go through the image status in the second phase. But Chadius here stepping up to the plate. Final Kefka. I think it all comes down to tier 3 here, Knuckly, because we have stuff to deal with 1 and 2. But calmness will be a huge thing to try and figure out for the third tier.
Very true. It looks like on JS's side he may have a Mirage Vest. But that's only for one character.
Yeah, you'll have to put that on your most important character. And that at least leaves one answer for calmness. Tier 1 coming up for Chadius here. We want to get rid of the face before the end, because the face will counter with Quake if it's left alive at the end. We already used X-Zone to get rid of the long arm, which is susceptible to instant death, and then we have the balled up fist, which is weak to water, but I don't think we have water in this seed. Anywhere, really. JS has taken care of Doom there. So going to decide to reconfigure his party for optimum Kefka fightage. And that is tier 1 dead for Chadius. However, Locke and Gao are looking a little hurt here. And we do have Reflect on, remember, so we are not going to be able to heal up those characters with any cure spells. We're going to have to use some other trickery to get our characters up with health. That being said, Locke with the Valiant Knife is probably not as important to heal him. He'll do more damage with lower HP. Yeah, so Chadius does unfortunately have Locke back in the back row here. It did save his life in tier 1, but he will be doing less damage going forward. Mute going out for magic here, and we've got an Esper cast, the summon for instant death. Unfortunately misses. We do have X-Zone though, and we have Ice 3, which is the weakness of Tiger. So I don't think this tier will last very long here. Of course, after I say that, X-Zone is not working for Chad there. Chadius looking to steal some elixirs. So all parts of Kefka tiers 1 and 2, you can steal an elixir from. So that's a pretty good way to heal, get around the problem of not having heals. That being said, he already has 8 in his inventory and 2 mega elixirs. So I think he'll be fine for healing. He also cast Kieran on himself, which gives all of his homies the regen status. And it looks like Chadius is going to use Phantom here on tier 2 to counter the 10 hits, instead of trying to use it for calmness protection later on. Very effective against 10 hits. It skips a lot of the hit and battle animations that 10 hits actually does, so that's nice to see. Yeah, I like Kieran. My only problem with Kieran is if you have magic that is not muted, he tends to dispel the regen status on your team. So it kind of negates the whole reason for it. Alright, out comes Locke with a Morph. And he'll be doing double damage with that Valiant Knife with Morph. It's still not a lot, because again, Chadius has his Locke in the back row. But here comes the Death of Magic there, that's the Dispel. So that'll get rid of both the image status, or the clear status, and the regen status. Meanwhile, over on the other side of the screen, JS is gearing up for his first tier. Trying to use the chainsaw with that instant death proc. Unfortunately, it misses there. That's some bad luck with X-Zone as well. It looks like he's also going for the potential steals of elixirs from the enemies there and getting some really bad dice rolls. Yick. You hate to see it happen. Correction coming in from the chat. The Valiant Knife damage isn't affected by Morph. So normally Morph gives everything double damage, but since the Valiant Knife has its own damage formula that adds damage to the end of that calculation, it basically nullifies out the Morph damage multiplier. Meanwhile, that is use of the black belt there to get the counter attack on tier 3. That's not something you see very often, because it's not usually a relic that gets equipped all that often. Here comes another try for the drill, and finally it does the instant death there for JS, but he's got to be careful. His characters are low HP, and he's queued up a few attacks. Hopefully that won't kill the fist, and it does, and Terra is down for the count on JS's screen. Alright, here comes Meteo. So this is now when Chadius has to punch through the damage here, and with quad 9s, out comes Calmness. Huge block from Terra there. That is that plus evade on the Ragnarok sword, giving plus 50% chance of getting a block on a physical special, which is what Calmness is. And now we're up to tier 4 for Chadius. Meanwhile, Celeste is down for JS, and Gao has been substituted in for Terra here. So we'll see if JS can get back into things here. Gao down again for JS, and out comes N Cross. Thankfully that did not do much of anything there. Fallen 1 is what Kefka casts after the first turn here for Chadius, and it looks like he is going to use elixirs instead of the Mega Elixir, and the reason for that is that Locke has the Valiant Knife, doing more damage when he has less HP. So doesn't want to use the Mega Elixir to heal Locke's HP. Instead wants to take advantage of the fact that Locke is now at 1 HP. Pumping out a cool 14-ish K per turn there. So Kefka will start countering when he's under 30,000 HP with things like Hyperdrive and Havoc Wing. So Chadius has to be careful here of those counter attacks, not to queue up too many commands. Out comes the Hyperdrive, and that is certainly the end of Gao. He's going to charge up his Goner attack here, and he will not counterattack during this set of turns. So hopefully Chadius can get in enough damage, and that is a clutch flare proc there with that quad 9 Ragnarok swing. He's also going to get, oh, the miss from Celeste. I hope that doesn't come back to bite him here, and hopefully that is enough damage from Locke, and yes it is! 147.32 is your final time for Chadius. So Team Raiden taking the first of the matches for week number 3. get your GGs in chat for him and go tell him in his own personal chat, congratulations on his win. JS will be finishing up here, and we'll see if we can get Chadius in for an interview. And unfortunately, that is a reset there for JS, who had his party on the ground. And if you leave tools alive long enough, I think it's after 3 turns, they will use Delta Hit, and will turn one of your party into stone. And I hope that JS saved after beating Doom. Because otherwise it's going to be quite awkward. And it looks like he did, which is good. Alright, so while JS is stepping back up to the plate for the second time, we're going to drag Chadius in, who is the winner of tonight's race. So Chadius, if you're here, welcome. Congratulations on your win. And
thank you.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about your strategy here for the Doom's flag set and what you sort of encountered along your way in this seed.
Yeah, so what I usually, at least in these seeds, I try to grab a couple of dead checks, and then not dead checks. I don't want dead checks. I want free checks.
Yes, no, you don't want dead
hopefully
checks.
I get a character or an Esper out of that. Doom's Rage is less bad if I get free checks, except this time I think I got a pair of ice shields or something, so not that great. But yeah, usually it's just do a couple of them. Hopefully I find a cool weapon somewhere, and then make sure I start grinding for experience. And then once I'm at a good enough level, I can just just start. I should be well ahead of the level curve, and I can just start blasting through checks. But then I got Lock and Terra as the start, and that already threw a wrench into many plans, because hey, that means Paladin Shield is up for grabs.
Yep.
Which is great, unless you have a 2-person party, in which point, and you haven't found a peace ring, in which case, Locke's gonna wind up face planted in the ground most of the time. Because Terra can kill a lot of stuff, but she's only one person.
Yeah. Wow, lots of dread casts coming out from Tier 1. I've never seen it happen more than once, and we got 2 in the span of 2 turns. That's interesting. Anyway, yeah, so I was going to ask you, you went around to a lot of different shops in the beginning of the seed. I'm guessing that is what you were looking for, a ribbon or peace ring way to counteract that curse shield status that you had.
Yeah, that was pretty much the plan there. It's either I find something to neutralize the curse shield, or I eventually found Ragnaroks in World of Ruin Thamasa.
Yep.
Well, that was the other plan, because a couple of my practices I got lucky and found like an Illumina just lying around in a barrel.
Yeah.
Don't mind if I do. Or I went to the Coliseum and I found an Illumina when I think a tonic or something. I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so this seed, I think, there was a couple of things that set you apart from JS. The first, you sort of mentioned the Coliseum, right? You did find a Valiant Knife for running shoes, which is what you utilized for Locke. And then you also went to the Velt Cave, which is where that offering showed up, which are a couple of things that JS unfortunately did not have early on. Was using the fixed dice on Terra, which I noticed you were using not the fixed dice for Terra, so there's a little bit of difference there in the early game, but I think having the Valiant Knife and then having the offering, although you put Locke in the back row instead of the front row, was that just basically for defensive purposes and for safety?
Yeah, some of that was definitely for protection, just because he was already lower level due to the aforementioned face planting.
Yeah.
So I was like, I didn't know if I wanted, there was like a risk reward kind of thing going on.
Right.
So I was like, let me just keep him in the back for now. Although, all right, that does reduce the damage a lot.
Yeah, so the back row,
Right.
the back row definitely nicked his damage in half for sure. And it did save him, because he definitely got bullied on tier 1 a little bit there. But
yeah, he did, yeah.
Yeah, that's one area where you could have made up some time. If you moved him in the front row, he would have done more damage, obviously, but that's your comfortability level, obviously, there, so... and then, so talking about the seed a little bit, it was a pretty linear seed with having to go get Gao up at Kefka at Norsh. It was sort of ugly where your three options were, hey, I have to split up my party and go into Phoenix Cave, or I have to split up my party and do Kefka at Norsh, or I have to split up my party and do Mobliz. And
exactly.
You chose Kefka at Norsh first, whereas JS chose Mobliz. And luckily for you, Gao was the way through the seed, because all of Celeste's checks yielded espers or items versus characters.
Oh no. That's bad.
Yeah, so sometimes it's just a coin flip, and you happen to win the coin flip, but you also did execute very well in Kefka's Tower with the bosses too.
Yeah, a couple of the... I'm usually worried about like, hey, these statues are going to be like level 40, level 45. I'm pretty sure I probably hit level 50-ish statues at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, all right, cool. How do I handle them? One of my practice runs, I overloaded Team 3 when they were like in their mid, low level 30s, I believe. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, all right, because I'm going to be facing these statues, and I was like, oh, actually, I think one or two of them could have handled them on their own. And this time it was like, all right, great. I have offering, Atma Weapon, Valiant Knife. So I can cut through Poltergeist's defense, I can cut through Doom's image, and I can ignore Love Token from Goddess. So I just put, the three people who can wield Atma weapons on separate lanes.
Yeah, so you didn't feel a need necessarily to dive into the tower early, because you knew you had answers for all three of the statues. And I think you switching from Atma Weapon to Valiant Knife in one of the fights is, just really good heads-up knowledge to be like, hey, I think my Atma Weapon damage is not going to be enough. Let's just switch over here.
Yeah. Doom was punching Locke in the face a couple of times, and so that was kind of the all right, great. We'll just switch. We'll just switch our weapon here, because I think it will start out damaging Atma Weapon at this point.
Yeah. So any hiccups that you basically went through in the seed? I know that Doomgaze was kind of an annoyance, and that Magimaster fight took a very long time for you.
Took forever. I forgot about the fixed dice. I probably, because I was trying to swing Atma Weapon with Terra against Magimaster.
Right.
I was like, hey, when it hits, it's gonna, the damage is gonna fully go through.
Right.
But that was probably like a situation where, maybe I should just get the dice and start gambling.
Yeah, so since Magimaster has super high physical evade, right, most of the time when you use fight, it's not going to connect. It's only weapons that don't ever miss, like the fixed dice, like the offering, which you didn't have yet at that point, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't have it.
Yeah, that was
but
another moment of potential improvement for you to certainly work on between the weeks, for sure.
Yeah, I paused and realized, wait, Gal's drill is the only reliable way of hitting. I need Amaro to flip tails on his attack and miss or body slam.
Right.
Locke and Terra can both pierce defense, but neither are guaranteeing hits.
All right, so here comes Calmness. Clutch block from Celeste.
Nice.
Neither one of you found Calmness protection, so were you just going, hey, if I buy enough Ragnaroks, they will give me hopefully enough evade so that Calmness misses?
Yeah, I've been... Not that Calmness is Not that I feel like I've been overestimating calmness. I think I think someone said it best when like the best calmness protection is like 3 people who can easily kill Kefka. That is the best calmness protection.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if 2 of them decide to block it with their face, at least number 3 can drag the scrubs, the surviving scrubs across the finish line.
Yeah, you really only need 3 good characters at Kefka. When you get double calmness of 2 of your best 2 characters, that's when things sort of go awry, obviously.
Yeah. That's when you pray for no Ultima counters.
Yep. Alright, cool. Well, you have put your Team Raiden, up 1 game in this best of 3 series that we've got going on for the rest of this week, and your team is also out in front in the Nemesis group, I believe, is the group that you were in. So congratulations on getting that victory and helping out your team. And any other final thoughts before we let you go here?
This has been Warring Triads has been really fun in terms of like teaching me, hey, how to deal with fully powered statues without, grinding to level 65 like I used to do back in 1994.
Yeah, if you can do some trickery, it will certainly help you out. But excellent race, way to go! You did a lot of really awesome things this race, and it was a pleasure to watch you, and we'll catch you again on the next one. Thanks again for volunteering to be on Restream also. Can't have the Restreams without the runners, so thank you for volunteering to run.
Yeah, thanks for hosting and Restreaming.
All right, catch you later now.
See ya.
All right, also want to shout out Knuckly Kong, who had to dip out because of some guests in his house, but thank you so much, Knuckly Kong, for doing the tracking with me and commentary with me throughout this race here. And it looks like JS's back is against the wall here, has got to get one of his other characters up, or may decide to just go for it. And it looks like he's going to play it a little defensive, getting his characters up. Out comes Revenger, which is probably the best thing that Kefka could do in this case. It just basically negates all of your positive status effects. Let's hope this Quad 9 does it. And it does! No Ultima counter. GG for JS with a time of 2 hours and 25 seconds. Make sure you go tell him that we said GG in chat as well. And we will go and catch him as he is coming into the booth for an interview, maybe, perhaps? We'll see. Well, that was a pretty crazy, intense race with Chadius bringing home the win for his team, for Team Raiden, extending the lead of that squad, and potentially putting them in good position to have a nice win there. So we'll see if he wants to. It's the Legend group, I'm sorry, not the Nemesis group, the Legend group. And speaking of legends, we are in the booth with the legend himself, JS. What's going on? How are you feeling after your run today? I don't know if you're speaking, but I can't hear you. Are you muted? Is your mic in?
Well, I'm not hearing you.
There you go. Can you hear me now? I can hear you. Maybe he's got his headset turned all the way down. Let's see if we can try and get him back here.
I can't seem to hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? As we're just typing back and forth. Maybe it's a headset volume thing? I don't know. We'll see if we can get JS back in here. But taking a look at the standings thus far, we do have Team Raiden, who we just watched, getting another individual win. That was Chadius taking home a win for his team. And Team Phoenix unfortunately drops the first in this series over here in the Legend group. And let's see what the difference was. The difference in times was about 12 minutes or so. Nah, it's about 13 minutes, so a little bit of a increase in the 13-minute total time difference. We'll see if JS can hear me now. JS, are you there? He can't hear me still. His microphone's also pretty muddy too, but I can hear him. So, unfortunately, that means we might just have to conduct a text-based interview, which will be fun. So, I told him to tell us about his run, and I could ask him questions through text.
Seemed like I had a lot of rough RNG. Polty was destroying me. Oh my god. Alright, we can do it like that then.
I can't really understand what he's saying either.
Yeah, it seems like we're having issues. Yeah, Polty ate me alive. Man, we'll have to just disconnect on this. I don't really know what's going on. I'd like to know, but we'll have to do it. We won't be able to do that, unfortunately. There must be something up with my settings somewhere. I don't know what it is. I appreciate it. Thanks for restreaming us as well.
Yeah, so I told him thanks and good luck for the rest of the season. And yeah, he needs to open the hatch on his sensory deprivation tank. That's what Double Down says. Anyway, so back to our standings here. So Team Raiden taking first blood here in the matchup against Team Phoenix. So Team Phoenix has 2 additional races this week. So we'll see if they can get back into the swing of things into the game here. As we also check in on some of the other divisions around the league. We've got Onslaught Group C, where we have a lot of parity in that particular division, as we have Grand Train, Flare Star, Ultima, and Meteor all with 1 win and 1 loss. So that division is completely up for grabs this week, as we could have some teams getting some different individual wins. So that'll be really nice to see on the schedule. Let me see if I can pull up which teams are fighting against which opponents here. So for week 3, it is Team Ultima versus Team Meteor, and Team Grand Train versus Team Flare Star. In the Legend group, as we mentioned, we did have Team Raiden against Team Phoenix. Phoenix has Javinator and Cyclor to try and get their group back onto the winning side of things after dropping the first game against Falcon Hit and Gig of Ram, respectively. Whereas we have Bahamut and Crusader going in the other half of the Legend bracket. So those 2 teams will be battling ostensibly for who can climb either into 3rd place or maybe even into 2nd place if Raiden still continues on their dominance. Team Onslaught, or Group Onslaught rather, will have Team Ultima versus Team Meteor. So those are our 2 bottom half of our teams due to the differences in times for their margins of victory. And Team Grand Train and Team Flare Star are going to be going at it. The 2 first place teams will be slugging it out to see who will get the top of that particular team. So by the end of the week, 2 teams will be in 2-1 land, and 2 teams will be 1-2 land. So that means that we'll have at least 2 teams that are looking to claw back into things after this week. Over in the Paragon group, we have Team Valiant, who has so far basically run the table with 5 individual wins out of a possible 6 games. So they are not They're not undefeated yet, and we'll see if Team Ragnarok at the bottom can pour out a little bit of upsets here. Team Ragnarok has some great racers in their belt. We'll see if they can get out of this 0-2 funk and take it to Team Valiant. Meanwhile, the two middle 1-1 teams are clashing this week. My team, Team Illumina, will be taking on Team Minerva in a really exciting matchup there to see who will capture second place in this particular division, potentially. And we then go over to the Nemesis group, which is Group A, where the two best teams so far in the league based on total time advantage. Team Doomgaze with over an hour and almost 15 minutes over their opponents versus Team Guardian, who has about 48 minutes over their opponents. Both 2-0, but two teams enter. Only one team can exit this week 3-0. So that'll be an interesting match to see as Team Inferno and Team Atma. One of these two teams will get on the board this week, and they also have some really good runners in those groups as well. So we'll see which one of those two teams will be able to claw back into a respectable third place, finally getting a win for themselves. So those are the standings here for Warring Triads. Again, thank you so much to our runners, JS and Chadius, for running today's race, and thank you to Knuckly Kong for doing the tracking and helping me out with the commentary as well. My name is Schwantz, and that has been this production of Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide. We will be back throughout the week to continue on in our third week of Warring Triads. Hopefully everybody's been enjoying the content, and we'll catch you on the next time. Peace out, everybody.